Hold on, it's making a thing.
Tell me when.
Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Happy New Year. Welcome to our first PTO meeting for 2020, is it? Can you believe it's 2020? I never thought I would ever say it was 2020. And make sure you write 2020 because somebody come up and write 20 and change it, so the scholars are learning. So welcome. We are excited to come together, keep the momentum flowing. We know that holidays can be exhausting, so we're glad for you to come out tonight and those who can join us on our video feed. This evening I asked Mr. Hangy to share. Oftentimes there's a lot of things happening in the school and parents have no idea of all the great things that our staff embark upon. Like Mr. Brooks brought in all these lovely inflatables for the courtyard during the holidays. Did you all see those? Some that were animated, so our pre-K scholars could not resist going out in the courtyard walking by. We had a wonderful winter fun day where kids had hot chocolate. We just had a lot of fun, and I think fun is important as we celebrate our scholars. Yesterday we gave out our VIP lunch. You would have thought they were really in the VIP area. They walk on the stage, they think I spray paint the forks gold. I'm like, they want to take the forks home. So I don't know if your scholar has experienced that, anyone? And each class is selected once a month based on how they demonstrate high expectations. We put the tables on the stage and they can sit on the stage and have lunch and they enjoy that. So those are wonderful things that are happening. And I invited Mr. Hangy tonight to talk about some initiatives that he has going on. We have a 5th grade dance happening this Friday. You'd have thought that we were planning a prom or something like that. Winter Wonderland, fun. Your daughter's 4th grade, not yet, right? Winter Wonderland. But there are going to be some other things that are going to happen. Our scholars lead our day with the morning announcements right here, live newscast. I don't know if you ever saw that, but some of the 3rd grade parents who chaperoned the trip were in Mr. Hangy's office and had the opportunity to see that, and they were like, I remember back when I was in school. So those are real life experiences that are preparing them for the real world, because you would think they are news broadcasters when they're sitting up there. And they get very nervous, but once they're on camera, they do a dynamic job. So that's some of the initiatives that we have. So do I need to say anything else, Ms. Rosen? No. So there's a lot of things happening for January. So I hope you got the email, the text messages, the reminders. We have Men Tying the Bond event on Thursday. We have the science fair. We have the winter concert. We have the Cocoa and Chat with administration. We have Get the Tea in February, Black History Month. So many things are happening. So you cannot miss it. There's some wonderful things happening. I'm hoping to have a very special guest speaker in March. We made the front cover of the Independent. I don't know if anyone saw that. Anyone see that? Mama Durant gave us a gift. So the newspaper article is in my office, and so she's adopted one of our classes. She's Kevin Durant's mom. And she said that she was so elated at the response she got from our scholars, because normally when she goes to schools, where's Kevin? Give me some, I want some sneakers. But they were very excited that she took time from her busy schedule to come and talk to them. So she's going to do some more things. We got some things brewing. So we're going to bring that here. And my goal this year is a lot of community partnerships and making people aware of all the great things that are happening at JP Ryan, because there's so much greatness here. And sometimes if we don't advertise it, you don't know how hard we work and what we do to bring other things on board for our scholars. So I am now done. I will now turn it over to our fabulous Vice Principal, Mr. Hangy. Let's give a round of applause. He worked very hard.
I wanted to set the mood for my presentation. So I have a PowerPoint, I have some music behind it. If you recognize the music, it means you know really old music. So I'm going to turn that on, and then we'll get into the formal part of the presentation. And you must stay awake. It's slow at times.
Right.
You gotta give a little, take a little, and let your poor heart break a little. That's the story that's the glory of love. You gotta laugh a little. cry a little before the clouds roll by a little. That's the story of, that's the glory of love. As long as there's the two of us, we've got the world and all its charms. And when the world is through with us, we've got each other's arms. You gotta win a little, lose a little, and always have the blues a little. That's the story of, that's the glory of love. That's the story of, that's the glory of
Okay. So, I do not see the mute button. But the reason that I wanted to set it up that way, yeah, okay, thank you.
I think you can just turn the volume down on the,
And can you let me know the artist
This is an
of the song,
old
please?
machine, so, there we go. All right.
Mr. Heiji, who was the artist?
The lady who sung in Frozen.
Idina Menzel.
Mendel, yeah.
Who?
Idina Menzel.
She used to be married to Tay Diggs.
Yes.
You
Mm-hmm.
married to who?
Really? Tay Diggs.
Yeah,
Oh.
I know everything about him.
and then that didn't work out.
Okay. Got a little scared, but okay. Like he's
They
supposed
met
to
in
be
Red,
first.
I think. So, I've been doing this a long time, and as this would show, and most of the people who are in this profession do it because of love. We really care what happens with our students and the relationships that we build with them and the relationships they build with each other. And if we look at our Scholars' Creed, they say every day, we talk about greatness being in each individual student. And we firmly believe that. And when we interact with them, we're trying to build that into them. And so by saying this on a daily basis, our hope is, through the announcements, that they are going to internalize that. Because truly there are not limits for our students, but they don't necessarily see that all the time. And so we try to build those relationships with them. And obviously, we talk about flying high, and these honor, integrity, grit, and hope, extremely important as they move through life. Charles County Schools has purchased for each elementary school a
Nobody passed it
series.
out so you can talk?
Oh, no, yeah, very good, thank you. Has purchased for each elementary school something from Chick-fil-A. They have a core values program, and there are instructional materials that Ms. Marzoff, the counselor, uses in her classes. And what I passed out to you are the core values that cover this particular school year. They change from year to year, but the list you have in front of you is for this particular school year. And each month, students are selected for demonstrating those particular core values. Our last core value was joy. And now we are in January, and that's knowledge. And so awards, it's a month behind when they get the awards, but January's students who are showing knowledge and what that means, and the definitions are on there as well, will then be awarded a certificate in their classes for that month.
Has any of your scholars received those? And they're collecting them. One scholar's like, I have 3. So y'all got one for every month. And then there's Cardinal Champion too.
Right, now I'll get to that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
These are clubs and groups that our school has. Again, this is all part of engaging the students. These are what I could remember. Okay, there may be a couple that are not on here, but we have chorus, band, orchestra, Just Say No, the Ryan Runners, Double Dutch, Green Club, Mesa, Destination Imagination, Art Club, Safety Patrols, Math Club, Rocketry, Code Club, VIP Luncheons, Cardinal Champions, and that's monthly, and those are for students who are selected by their teachers as outstanding students during that particular month. Our monthly core values, which I talked about. We have student ambassadors, and we will be having shortly Principals Advisory Council, which will be, do you want to say anything about that?
Yes. So I like to give scholars voice and choice, and I have asked team leaders and teachers to select one scholar from their class, one who's interested, and we will meet and they will share with me things that they think are working well for JP Ryan and things that need to be further developed. Because it's important for us to hear from the scholars and get scholar voice in the choices and decisions that we make. So, you know, if they say they want $1 million to put a pool on the roof, that's just not going to happen. But if they say they really enjoy number talks and would like to see more math manipulatives, then we can definitely make that happen. But it's important for them to have a voice and advocate for some of the things that they want to see. We don't necessarily start student council in elementary school, but it's an advisory council so that they can meet with me, and we'll rotate the scholars monthly. But I thought mid-year would give them the opportunity. We just had so much going on the first few months of school. Next year I would like to start it early on. But we're starting down in first grade because I know first graders have a lot to say. Second graders have a lot to say. Third, fourth, and fifth graders. So, you know, and they'll speak to their classmates and get some ideas from them as well and share them with me, and we can share the updates. But those scholars who have been selected, parents will receive notification. And, you know, it's getting them ready for middle school. It's getting them ready to speak up for themselves, because you're going to go to an institution and you're not going to like it. They're going to be a college campus one day, and they're going to need to be able to express themselves to their professors and so forth. So starting at an early age and getting them in the mindset of how to be a part of an organization, but how to want that organization to grow. And realizing that there isn't one quick fix or a solution overnight, but there is a team of people working together to resolve problems and solutions that need to be put in place.
Something that isn't on here that Dr. Johnson had mentioned are the announcements, the morning announcements. It's been primarily a 5th grade program, and you'll see there are different grade levels for these when the information comes out, and hopefully next year at back to school night we will have all this laid out for you so that you will be able to select what's going on. We'll also have online applications as well through the website, so there'll be different ways of accessing this so you know kind of what the offerings are rather than getting it as we've been doing it this year. We've been building.
I think we had a table, we just didn't have everything laid out because there were so many ideas that were coming up.
Mm-hmm.
We had a few that were laid out, but sometimes teachers will come and say, I want to start a club, I want to do this, and I'm all for it. We have an art club
Mm-hmm.
that I don't think that's up there.
Is Recycle Club up there?
Recycle Club, Green Club, all of that.
I thought that Recycle was part of Green Club. If it's separate, then
It initially started off as separate, but it was the recycling scholars that came to me with the idea to start that.
Okay.
They had a meeting and a proposal and a whole PowerPoint presentation, and then it gelled into the Green Club.
yes, ma'am.
How do your children join this? Because I haven't seen any of this before, and I check folders every night.
There are flyers that come out from the individual sponsors for this. Again, most of them at this point are for the upper grades. DI, I believe, is being done at the lower grades.
I think
Yes.
coding is
Yeah,
second
And
grade.
coding.
Coding.
Second
I
and
found
third
out
grade is
so
coding.
It's again, it's
Yeah.
starting again, and Miss Elkin is gonna send home the notification, so we'll just make sure, I know there was a lot of transition, but we're gonna make sure that it's in the Thursday folder, cause I know Elijah.
Yeah, Elijah. They
So
created that, the
Cody,
Mario.
yeah. Actually, coding was very nice.
Good, yeah.
I don't think my daughter's class got notifications.
Elijah's
I
in the
just
same
seen-
class, but I didn't see the notification.
Yeah, I
It
seen
never
a
goes
notice
home.
in school.
When we had one of our family, like family when we
Yeah.
came in, it was.
Yeah,
I
so
haven't
we're
seen
gonna,
anything.
I have an email in my inbox right now that I will check, and it's gonna go out again, and then we'll figure out if we can email them out. I don't know if you get the school messenger emails,
I do.
and we can email those out as well. And then Miss Bryant has a parent bulletin board that she posts a lot of things on as well, and so that's something that's there.
It's in the office.
As soon as you walk in, it's right, you can't miss it, it's a huge board.
It's right ahead of you. We have two groups, and this has been for, again, the intermediate students, heroes and sheroes. Mr. Keith Elkin, who has the karate studio across the road, runs the program for the males, and the sheroes program, the female, Miss Carter Mobley, runs that program, and that's an every Friday meeting. So Mr. Elkin comes in, his son usually accompanies him, and Miss Carter Mobley meets at the same time. It's during fourth grade planning time. Yes, ma'am. You have a question? Ms. Rosa, you have a question?
Oh, I just never heard of this.
Okay.
I see Mr. Elkin up here all the time. I just didn't know what it was for.
That's why we're having this presentation, cause I'm telling you, there's a lot of great, he did it last year too. Did you all know about it?
Well, I know I was trying to
I
get
know on
Elijah to go
Facebook
to
that he
him.
came to school.
Yeah, I just know that he comes to school on a
Yeah.
regular basis, but I didn't know what
I
for. I still don't
I
understand it.
think it's kind of missing from teacher to.
Well, this is a 3, 4, 5 program.
Mhm.
What do you
So
mean 3, 4? Like
grades
grade
Third,
three,
fourth,
third,
and fifth grade
Oh, okay.
students,
Okay.
yeah.
And what's the premise of this program?
It's a mentoring program.
HEROES is an acronym for something. I'm gonna tell you. I don't know right now, it's an acronym, but it's an acronym for something.
It is, it is.
It's after school? During?
No, it's during school. It's during school.
Okay.
It's during fourth grade planning, so those students come to, well, Mr. Elkin is in my room, and Ms. Carter Mobley is in the room adjacent to here.
And are they like recommended by the teacher or for the program? Okay.
Mhm. Yes, ma'am. Again, but the more we get this out, there can be parent recommendations as well, and we can try to, work that out. A program that I'm doing with fourth grade young men is called Lectigo Ducks, and what that means in Latin is leader readers. It started with a small group of students and mushroomed into all the fourth grade. There are four scholars from each homeroom, and we're reading this book called Rising Above. And Rising Above is about 11 sports figures who had difficulties of some sort as they were growing up and how they were able to overcome those. So the first person we read about is this gentleman, Mr. Howard. He has Tourette's syndrome, and he was a goalie for the U.S. national soccer team. And so we got to talk about Tourette's. We got to talk about compulsive OCD and obsessive compulsive behaviors, that he had to touch things and that sort of thing. But yet he was able to rise to a very high level within his sport. Even though he had those situations, he found that as a goalie, he would be more focused. As the players were coming down the field, he had tics and all that sort of thing. We talked about we talked about security blankets. What's a security blanket? His security blanket was repeatedly touching things and having a process that he continually went through. And so we talked about Linus and his security blanket and that sort of thing. But we are going to be going through this book. It was student selected, and then we will go to another book after this. and I buy the books, they get to keep them. They're their books, they get to write in them and all those kinds of things. So that's that program. They meet with me Tuesday through Fridays, right after announcements for about 20 minutes. So I have a thought for the day on the board, and we talk about that. Today the thought was wisdom blooms in light, not in dark. And so the first thing we do before we even open the books, let's read this. What do you think that means? And we have some students who will say, wisdom won't bloom when it's dark outside. And so the students are at different levels. And so some are at the concrete level where they repeat the words, I've answered your question, or others are able to delve in a little bit more deeply. We talked about the banner on the Washington Post, Democracy Dies in Darkness, as a lead-in to that. So we do that, then we read, a portion of the chapter. We pick out important things. They have to go back, show me where in the text they found their answer to the question. And so they're just good skills for the students. As far as selection is concerned, they were recommended by classroom teachers. Some students have challenges, other students do not. My speech to the teachers included, if you feel the student would benefit from this kind of interaction, get them involved, sign them up. And that's what we've been doing with that. We're also looking at exploring special groups, and this is the last slide. We're talking about having, at the intermediate level, single gender meetings. And we're going to have our first one in next week, next Thursday. And so all 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade young men will be meeting with me and other male teachers in the building. We're going to be focused on our core value of the month, which is knowledge. And the female teachers will be meeting with Ms. Kaeg and female teachers. And they will be getting information from us. And there'll be an opportunity for them to ask us questions about how we've utilized, whatever the topic is. In this case, it's knowledge. There'll be videos and those kinds of things that we will show. It's only going to be a half hour, but it's just another way of building those relationships. And again, I come back to where we started, which was the idea of love. If Mr. Brooks, I guarantee you, if Mr. Brooks did not love his students and what he's doing, he wouldn't still be doing this. And it's the same for me. I get to see students who I've had in the past who have been successful, and that's all, the reward that I need. Now, obviously, I like to get food on the table, but other than that, that's really the important thing. And if it's an old saying that if students don't know how much you care, they're not going to care about what you're teaching, it's very, very true. You have to develop that linkage with your students. Without that, you're just calling out into the wind. So I will be quiet at this point. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them. Otherwise, that's it. Thank you.
We have another slideshow, but I didn't add music to my board.
We might could play the song again. That'd be appropriate.
It may be playing now. Who knows?
I don't know. We could put that Shake It song on there.
That's
every song.
true. That's true.
But I did want to go ahead and, like Dr. Johnson was saying, since we're not really advertising all the things that we've been doing, I don't know that so many people know what we have been doing. So here is our J.P. Ryan Elementary PTO 2019-2020 in review. So to start out, we had where we created a bond between the teachers and families with Chuck E. Cheese night. So, and what more? Some pictures. I honestly think that was our most successful fundraiser that I've ever seen at this school. I'm still laminating on it because I was excited to get that started, and when it was there, it just turned out so wonderful. So next we have Custodian Appreciation Week. They really deserve recognition. One more.
Yeah, we get a lot of cold pinks and cold yellows.
Yeah, with the stuff that they have to clean up. And as far as I know, I haven't seen any special thing that we have done previously, so I was glad that we were able to get this for them this year and made a whole week out of it. So we got them pizza, we had snack bar for the entire week. We had also given them water cups with their names on it and little baggies with some stuff in it. We also had a reading camp out that did not turn out that well, but we also did it last minute. So, because we were trying to do a movie night. But the reading camp out still turned out really great for the few kids that were able to attend. We had s'mores. And the kids danced around the entire cafeteria.
They danced the whole night away.
They did. They was like, no dance party.
Aren't tired yet.
Yep. And Chipotle night. It turned out really good. It was a good fundraiser for the school, and a lot of people attended to that one. The place was completely packed. We had Bus Driver Appreciation Week. We gave them a different snack or gift every single day, and they really appreciate it, as you can see in the photos. We had the turkey raffle bingo night. We had a lot of donations from local businesses that was able to help us create this night for everybody, and a lot of people got prizes. Holiday fun night was craft night, clothing closet, holiday shop, family night, and a night of giving back. That was our huge night, and it took a lot to get together, and it was very successful, as you see in the next 2 clips, or 3 clips. So here is the holiday shop. Holiday craft night. We had about 5 tables for crafts. So as you can see, it seems like the kids had so much fun. The clothing closet. Families went home with bags of clothes for their household. But 2019 is over. Let's see what 2020 will bring. Alrighty, we have IHOP night. That turned out really successful. Actually, IHOP said that they have never seen JP Ryan come to their events like they had this time. And that was during a snowstorm. So during that snowstorm, we had the best attendance at IHOP that we've had in 5 years.
That's awesome.
They were looking forward to it too.
Actually, other than us, there were only 2 other families there. I spoke to him yesterday. He said if we were not there, they would have had no business that night whatsoever. So 2020 upcoming. So far we have Silver Diner Night, which is at the end of the month. It's not particularly PTO, but it is still really good for the school. And we're planning on advertising during that day and setting up a table. And Valentine Grams. And the readathon. That's one I've been excited about since the beginning of the year. All right. So next I'll hand it over to Davida for the minutes.
That was very nice.
I don't even have a copy of the minutes. Is it final?
Yeah. I don't have.
It's okay.
It's right here. It's right here.
Thank you, Ms. Brooks. Good evening, everyone. I do apologize for the late delivery of the minutes. My life is so busy, so I wrote them when I had a chance, and that was about midnight this morning. So, if you missed the last meeting, because I don't think we had a lot of attendance, we had Mr. Tyler here, and he did a phenomenal presentation on readers and leaders. He even let everybody know that he was the president or CEO of an organization called Good Men Do Exist. He also talked about a lot of engagement that he does with the students and how to build the relationships that kind of ties into what we learned today. And one of the things Mr. Hangy talked about was building that relationship with the children, and one of the things Mr. Tyler said was rules without relationships equal rebellion. So that was one of the things I kind of took from his presentation, have here in the meeting minutes. He is supposed to be talking, I believe, on Thursday at the tying the knot for the Men Make a Difference.
And he has 4 volunteers coming from his organization to provide support. Because sometimes if scholars can't get an uncle or someone to come, you know, we don't want them not to be able to come. So he's bringing 4 volunteers.
Okay. And so it's not just for men. They did advocate on the flyer that women can come too.
We just don't want y'all to bombard.
Yes.
I'm joking.
Well, I'm a mom. I'm be there. I'm all in their business. I need to know what's going on. So, and then some moms need to learn how to tie ties too.
This is true.
You know,
Very true.
so it's not just limited to men, but it will focus on our young men. So if you do or are able to come out, you can.
And Miss Bryant used to work at a very high-end store.
Yes,
So she's going to
she
teach
did.
a lesson based on what she learned at that store. So
On
it's
how
very
to tie a
exciting.
tie. Other than that, we have the budget, the holiday craft night. For the holiday shop, we raised roughly about $1,000. And then we have a list of all of the upcoming events within the meeting minutes. So all paid members, if you approve the meeting minutes from the December 17th meeting, please raise your card. We have 6 voting members, and we have now voted these minutes, 7, 8 members. So we have now voted these minutes into the archive. So thank you so much.
Thank you, as usual.
All right, so next would be budget review. So as Ms. Usual had said that we raised $1,000 from the holiday shop. We had also, on IHOP, he gave me a rough amount. He said it was about $140. So it was 20% of our profit that he received. And that looks like it's just about all. I mean, on there also is not including the box tops. So $354 is coming into a check from the budget, as well as we had a spending of $69.82 for the holiday craft night. Okay. So other than that is staff PTO feedback. We did have some feedback from the staff. We didn't get too many papers back, but we did have about 3 things that we wanted to talk about tonight. Ms. Usual, do you have a paper for that? The 3 things that we... She's got it for me. Perfect. So the 3 things that we had gotten from the staff PTO feedback that we found really interesting was the 5th grade shirts, which I've already been obsessed about since the beginning of the year. Teachers Lounge, either renovating it or keeping it stocked for the teachers so they're not coming in the morning without coffee type of thing. And end of the year carnival. So, Ms. Usual, is there any chance you can talk about this for me?
Okay. So, do I have to give you a camera?
Yeah.
I could turn it to.
Thank you.
You could have turned it to me. That would be nice. So in relation to the carnival, the end of the year carnival, so what we would like to do is, of course, we like to give things back to the kids just to show how we appreciate them. So one of the ideas we came up with was the end of the year carnival. Most of the schools in Charles County at the end of the year conduct the end of the year field day. So we just kind of wanted to throw a theme with it because we just thought it would just be nice. So the goal is we're going to try to have popcorn. Is it Kona ice?
Ohana.
Ohana.
I mean, there is a Kiwana ice, but there's also Ohana.
That ice place with the snow cones and stuff. I'm a DIYer, so we're going to try to do some DIY little games if we can. Maybe cornhole.
Maybe some vendors.
Try to have some vendors.
Mr. Brooks has a really nice carnival.
You do?
That he made himself, yeah.
Yes. We love DIY projects. So we could do that. Maybe try to do a DIY wall with the balloons. No, we can't do darts. We can't do darts. We'll try to come up with some kid-friendly games that we can
When is that?
utilize.
That's June? When is that?
Are we gonna try to aim for May or June?
Either the end of May or the beginning
The
of June.
June. Right before the end of the school year.
It's about the same time as the field days.
Yes. Normally each school is assigned like a field day date, and so we'll try to do it on that day.
But after school is what we said, right? But after school is what we said, right?
No, it'll be during school.
During the same time.
Yeah, when the normal field day will hold. So normally field day is like during the actual
Right.
school.
So I thought it was gonna.
I'm confused.
Are we doing it
Yeah.
after school?
Well, I thought it was
Yeah.
gonna be a PTA type celebration thing, cause the field day is, Mr. Odd, our PE teacher, has to organize a physical type of activity. He has some requirements that he has to have with the
Yeah.
classes color coded.
It seems like it would be busy.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
we could do
so
it.
it would be more of a setting where people can come and bond and have food together and have fun.
We
So
can
an
do it
evening,
after
it's an evening
Mainly
event.
it's,
Yeah,
the
we can
afternoon.
do
It'll be
that.
warm then, and so I think it'll still
Yeah.
be daylight.
Yeah.
We'll have some light.
That's fine. So I guess we just have to pick a day in the afternoon. Maybe Friday. Most kids don't really have nothing to do. Parents don't really have a lot to do. Bring the kids out and they can have a good
And
evening.
one school did a block party. I don't know if it was on, maybe it was Friday night, and everyone had a really good time.
I do need to mention that we are going to be recruiting volunteers for a committee for this because we cannot make this successful without volunteers and without assistance making this possible.
I'm for making stuff.
Yes. I seen a cute little idea of a drive-in movie theater, and they use for especially with the smaller kids, they
Put it
make
in a
cars
box.
out
They'll
of the
sit there,
little
keep their snacks.
the paper boxes that the paper rooms come in.
Are we gonna run into the same problem that we did earlier when we couldn't watch a movie?
Yeah.
Are we talking about movies?
I said we could probably do maybe like a inflatable movie, but we can't say it on camera. Just saying. Just saying. We could watch something educational.
No,
Maybe.
they're not gonna be interested. That's a waste of space. They're honestly. It's June.
We
We're ready to
can
get
watch-
out.
I've been
We
so
could
happy.
watch something.
Just
It's
educational.
educational.
Look, you find one.
Even
classify it.
educational, it has to do with based off of the company that makes that educational video.
Yeah.
That's
We
why
may have an option. We'll talk about it.
We'll
have a
talk about
workaround.
options. But just kind of staying with the whole carnival theme. So if anyone knows you have a creative streak and you think you'll be able to assist us in any way, thank you.
No. I
Thank you. That's volunteer.
was like, Vicky, if you tell me, I can look on the base and see what I can get.
We'll do all that. We'll do all that.
I was just saying.
Yeah, we take raised hands. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. You can be president of a whole committee. We need all that. All that. So the goal is, like Stephanie said, hopefully we could get a committee for this. The goal is to start planning now so we can kind of have our ducks in a row so we could really be prepared because this is going to be something really big for the students and we really just want to show them that we appreciate them. So if anyone wants to volunteer, by all means, you can email the JP Ryan email address. Let Stephanie know, myself know.
I'll volunteer to help.
Thank you.
No, take that back.
Or you can probably let somebody know in the office because we do have a PTO mailbox and they can put a note in our mailbox if someone wants to volunteer. But if anyone also has any ideas about what we could potentially do,
I think we
we'll
do,
take our ideas
like
as well.
A photo booth.
I think a
That
photo
would be
booth would be
And
cool.
I actually have 2 photo booth stands. So all we have to do is put a backdrop, either curtains or buy a backdrop that maybe has a carnival theme. Be super cute.
That'll work. Get popcorn, little popcorn, just cute stuff.
Yeah.
But then we have to remember if we're doing food, do we still have to go based on the allergy
If they're with their
requirement?
parents, it's different.
Okay.
Because whereas during the school day, but if they're with their parents, it's a little more monitored.
So the goal is any volunteers, any donations, everything would be greatly appreciated. And do we have to vote on this?
We have to vote on whether we approve to move forward.
And do we wanna throw a tentative budget out or no?
No, not yet.
Okay.
At least wait a month for that.
Okay.
So we can have some ideas in.
So if everyone would like to move forward with the three, it was three,
No, we're just talking about this one first.
because that one has money involved, right?
Well, no, that's what you were mostly speaking about. I'm gonna jump up about the.
Oh, you do? That's fine. Carnival themed, field day, thank you, all 8 people.
Without the budget, I'll just pass.
Yes.
Okay, so I do want to speak some more about those 5th grade shirts. I was thinking that it would be beneficial to create some of our next coming fundraisers to go towards the 5th graders, so we can actually afford those 5th grade shirts, because it would cost about $1,000 total for all 120 shirts. So if y'all want to see a picture of the idea that I have, just come and ask. We actually had these shirts in 2000, because I got a picture of the Cardinal shirts from 2000 from JP Ryan, and they are actually really nice. And I was wondering if we can put the Valentine Graham fundraiser to go towards that, as well as the March Spirit Night. And that would be beneficial as well, especially if we are able to get the 5th graders to help us with the Valentine fundraiser, and with like putting the pieces together and delivering it to classrooms, as well as the 5th graders help us promote the next Spirit Night, so we can give them money for their end of the year gift. Anybody have any objections to that, or any questions or comments? My overall goal was to make this a tradition. At my old school, I lived in Virginia when I was in elementary school. It was a tradition for us, and I loved it. Also, overall goal is to make sure every student has this shirt at the end of the year. Even if we have to have a small bit paid for at the end of the year, I would like to have that go forward. Does anybody have any objections or comments?
So we're paying for the shirts, the money will pay for it, so no one has to pay at the end. Is that the goal?
That's the overall goal.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I don't know if that's plausible.
Oh, okay.
Can we put an order out, let people order if they can, and then whoever's not financially able to order, then we put that money? So it kinda makes
That's
it
what I
a
was planning on to be our backup. So whatever fundraise we get towards, I want that to bring down the cost overall. And then that would specifically be 5th grade money to bring down the cost. And then whatever's left over that we need to do, what's not paid for that by the parents, I want to go ahead and try and take care of that. But we would have to speak about that specifically at another date. So we don't know the actual budget for it to come straight out of the PTO. Any more questions? Does anybody say no or yes?
Yeah.
Greens,
Oh.
reds? Perfect. Go ahead and note it that all greens.
Are you gonna talk about the teacher refreshments before you continue? The teacher's lunch thing?
Are you
Can you speak about this one for me?
Oh,
The teacher lounge, that was mostly on your end.
was it?
Yes.
Okay. All
You
right.
had more ideas for this one than I did.
So I think in our meeting, the feedback that we received, the staff really enjoyed walking to the teacher's lounge and having something stocked for them. You know, some days you're rushing in the morning, you get here, you just need a cup of coffee just to make your day. So whatever items, if we can get donations to have stocked, we really want. The vision is, I don't know if you've seen, there's a school, I forget where, floating around, that turned their teacher's lounge into like a wellness center with the chairs that relax and the candles and the meditation music. I don't even want in there to sleep, but it would be nice to I don't know if you've been in the teacher's lounge, but I just feel like it's just clutter central. I don't know, but kind of making it a little more lively. So if that's something that we could do, I don't know if that's a budget item or if that's a donation item. If you're in Costco, pick up an extra set of K-cup. We have 2 microwaves, I think 2 Keurigs, a toaster. There's all kind of things in there. But that vending machine, I'm still working on. Those gummy bears have been in there for years. They're like, it's like gummy water now. So I've called, but they refreshed the other items, but I don't know why they don't take those gummy bears out of there. So yeah. So we were.
So you go buy these gummies.
I don't know. If you go in there, I mean, that's gummy water. So anything that you all all can do just help brighten up. When we had the week before the holidays, the cocoa station was really nice. We had a nacho bar. We had what else did we have? Oh, tea and cocoa, and it was just a lot of things. And then 2 days, a parent of a fifth grandparent prepared an entire meal. We had ribs, chicken, rice. It was great. He brought in these big cookers. I don't know if he cooked them on a grill or not, but it was a very welcome surprise. And then we had empanadas one day. It was another fifth grade parent who brought that in, so that was a welcome surprise. Our teachers love to eat, right? They do. They love to eat. So if you have a culinary talent and you want to share it with us, feel free. We take everything, so that would be great. Did I cover it, Ms. Roper? All right, awesome.
We need to have a vote of moving forward with planning and gathering information. All who agree?
I agree. You have my agree. Thank you.
All right. So next on our agenda was the Valentine grams. So we have two different things. One is we're going to need to vote on a budget, or if we're able to even do this. I got these friendship bracelets, and I was thinking that this can be a way that we can make sure that every student has a Valentine. That this will be a Valentine from the PTO. We would also like to sell lollipops. That would be the fifth grade fundraiser, would be the selling of the lollipops. But of course that would be selling to the entire school for any confusion. You can go ahead and pass these around. If we did the friendship bracelets, it is 100 of those for $10, or if I'm able to still get the good price, it was $240 for $16.
Oh wait, so you haven't purchased all the bracelets yet?
No, I purchased 340 because I really liked them. But that's out of my own money, so it's not coming out of PTO.
But just share the success that has happened in other schools.
Like, I have a PTO Facebook page that I've been following. One school has 450 students, and they sold over 1,000 of those for $1 each. It was a great success for them. Several other schools have spoken about how it was a great success. They loved going home with those. They'd either go home with 1 or 5. So, but we're thinking about not doing it as a fundraiser, but as a PTO gift. If we did that, we would need a budget of roughly $60 to get the rest of the friendship bracelets for the students. Does anybody have any questions or concerns?
So, go ahead, because I think you may be thinking the same thing.
I kind of feel like, why are we not selling these? If
Kids will buy it. They will buy.
they will buy it, and why aren't we giving away the lollipop and
Because the
selling
lollipops cost more.
Yeah,
which
lollipops
Do
cost
they?
more.
Yes, the
Okay.
heart lollipops cost more. I think it was 24 for $25.
Oh.
What kind of lollipops you got?
They just run like the heart ones.
Or even,
I
they're
mean,
also
small
higher
heart
risk. If we got the
lollipops.
really cheap ones, it's still $36 for 150 of them, or about 150. But it's more of a risk because of the bulk buy,
They could break in transport.
and it still ends up costing about the same amount. Actually, costs more than the friendship bracelets, and that's the really cheap ones, really cheap lollipops.
We did think about that because I felt like I could see kids coming in with their $5.
'Cause they see
Five
color and they're like, ooh,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
That's all my son needed is like, ooh. But what were you thinking?
No,
Well,
we
why don't you buy them as gifts? Everyone gets one, but if they want to get extra, they can buy it.
Okay.
You see what
I
I mean?
know you people, those kids will buy.
So everyone
Once
gets
someone's
one.
gonna lose it, and
Yeah.
I want
That
two
was
more.
my original
That's a good
thought,
idea.
But then they would pre-order them.
Well, no.
No.
Well, no, I'm not saying no to your idea. But what you said, that wasn't it, because I thought we couldn't buy extras of the, because I mean, if we were trying to sell some, we would get the ones that we would be donating to everyone on top of an additional couple hundred in case kids want to buy extra or
Yeah, that's
So you're
what you
saying
just
you're
said.
kind of gambling? Do you feel like that's a gamble?
It's not so much of a gamble because it's purchased from Amazon, so it's 2 to 4 day shipping, depending on stock.
So they can fill out an order form, say, here's your free one, if you want more, fill out this order form, then you can collect the order forms and then let them know when they'll deliver the bracelets. They won't be here in time for Valentine's Day, but, you know what I mean, the gift is Valentine's Day, but,
But they'll wear them all.
yeah,
day.
they don't, I don't
wear
think they
this.
will connect that with Valentine's.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, we get a bracelet.
Buy more, or if they wanna buy one for a friend.
Yeah.
You said it's $16 for 240?
No, yeah.
No,
That's
But
not
it's not
Yeah.
that
a huge
bad.
cost to lose it.
No.
I know, that's why I actually
240.
already purchased for.
Yeah. And you could save it for another event if we don't sell them all, then you can easily.
cause you can always sell them at a,
Sell them at the carnival.
yeah, at the
Yeah.
carnival.
Yeah.
That's a
They
perfect.
colorful.
Well, those are
Yeah,
colorful for the carnival.
Oh, that'd be nice.
I just buy about, we still gonna stick to 60? We gonna buy a bunch of them?
If we buy a bunch of them, then I would suggest that we go at least up to 80, and then we go based off of what money we receive or what request we receive.
$80 or 80
Oh,
$80.
I always rather go over and not use the money than not having to, cause it goes right
Yeah.
back into the account.
So we can say 100 then.
I think we could sell them.
I do.
So are we saying we're doing this and not the lollipops or
In addition
in
to.
addition to? Okay.
So the lollipops, it will be the lollipops and the gram itself, the actual card gram. That's what they're paying for the dollar, right?
Well, that's what y'all said, yeah.
Well, yeah, weren't we all on the same meeting?
No, she
Yes.
said she didn't vote for that.
I mean, I said I voted, I agreed with y'all because that's, y'all vetoed. That's
So we're not gonna have that discussion now, so we'll talk about
Yes,
that.
Off camera.
No, so, but all she wants to know is, are we having the lollipops in addition to these as
Yeah.
well?
For sale, is what they're.
Yeah, or are you just saying, do you just wanna do the grams and sell these?
That's what
I'm just gonna donate the $100 and we're gonna buy these. We ain't gonna keep talking about this. I'll bring you the $100 tomorrow or the check. Just buy those and y'all worry about them lollipops. Because I think you're gonna sell those and whatever money you make,
I think
that
so.
is your donation.
Oh, thank you.
That is your donation. Because
So
I'm writing it in
Oh,
minutes. Oh, we got
so I might as well just go and
Oh, we got
I will
those
give you the
arguments. We throwing
$100.
money? I'm
and we
arguing
just
with that.
I like Chick-fil-A. I like Chick-fil-A. Now cost $100.
You want Chick-fil-A?
A platter like 60.
I'll bring us a platter.
See, I know
for our
that's right.
next
Look at
thing.
that.
I'm gonna go to Chick-fil-A and bring us a platter for our next PTO meeting.
Y'all
I'll have you
get
your
her on
platter.
camera.
We don't have to hear,
Y'all
but
done
I'll
messed
donate
up.
the $100 so we can get those, cause I think you'll make your money and then worry about the lollipops, cause they look like they cost, wow, like they
That's
cost.
a lot.
They do.
Yeah, instead of keep coming out of our budget, it's fine.
Where are the lollipops coming from? Amazon?
If we had done the $36 for 130, that would be from, or 140 to 150, that would be from Amazon.
What is that place?
Oriental Trade?
Yeah, do they have that?
It's about the same price, and there's worse reviews about them breaking
Being
and shipping.
broken from Oriental.
And Amazon is more likely, if we say the product is damaged, to refund us or let us send it back.
Okay. That's a lot. $1.
So we were trying to look at other avenues of purchasing the lollipops, like from stores, and if whatever we didn't sell, we would return, type of thing. But
Did you go to Sam's to see them cute ones that they got for Valentine's Day? Cause I
that's the
showed some.
$24. That's the 24 for $10.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get these for class. I thought they was neat.
That's what she
Okay.
was talking about.
Yeah.
The expensive lollipops, yeah.
Oh, it's like classic. These are cute.
Not the whole school.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah, I believe those lollipops were. Okay, so I have it on. I thought I put it on here. The amount for each one.
Are we doing pre-sales for the lollipops?
In the gram.
Okay.
Yes.
I remember we just did a coronation, y'all.
Well, we
Yeah,
talked
that's
about
what I'm
that
thinking.
We talked about that too, but just trying to, the goal was to try to get one of the florists in the area to donate the flowers, because flowers can be a little expensive.
Yeah.
And then, how you think your carnation gonna make it home?
Well,
I
how
know
they did with us.
we-
We carried.
Yeah, we wrapped those
Yeah.
things.
But
And a lot of times they had the little water thing on it.
Yeah.
And I mean, when I did flowers, I think I was in middle school and high school. I don't think we ever did them in elementary.
I did them
Oh,
in
yeah.
elementary.
And I could see my kid coming home, mommy, with the bulb in hand.
That's
and
all
the
that
stem.
matters. But you got it right. You got it.
I'm just saying. But that was the original. The original idea was for the gram, a piece of candy, and the flower. But we were just kind of thinking through kid-friendly things. So I don't know what the end of
I don't know what we're talking
I don't know what
We're just having a discussion.
So are we voting on something?
Yeah.
What do we
Well, I think it was supposed to be a budget vote, but it looks like our budget is taken care of.
So what are we gonna do about
Cash apps, I can send it to you right now.
So what are we doing about the lollipops? Are we not buying the lollipops at all? Cause we would still have to vote for that, right?
Those were pre-order things, so it'd be based
Okay.
off of how many we
How
got.
many
Got it.
children
There we go.
ordered.
We would send out the order forms.
But how much are you selling the you're not really making a profit off of these lollipops, really.
No, if we did, if we sold each one for $1, we'd maybe make about 50 to 60 cents.
Oh, no, you are. Half.
So the idea with the lollipop is to have a lollipop and a note, right?
Yes.
Together.
And that we would take to the classrooms and deliver. Okay. Next was the box top contest class prize. So last contest we got 200 that was left over from the previous year that went towards our overall box top, what we ended up receiving. We got 120 specifically from the contest itself, and we got $34 that was granted by Ziploc due to a discrepancy. We wanted to know about a budget that we would like to make based off of that on how much we want to spend on a prize for the next class box top winner. I was thinking the top budget should be $20 based off of the fact that we only raised about 120 specifically for the contest. Anybody have any questions or concerns or? No? You vote yes or no? For $20 budget? Okay, cool. And then I just want to specify we are having a readathon at the end of February. We are going to need volunteers. So if y'all are able to volunteer, come up and let me know. Put a note in the box. Speak to either me or Miss Bryant. We are asking our class parents to assist as well. And I am going to be sending out a sign-up genius once I figure out all the logistics. But the readathon is going to be going from February 24th to March 6th.
And what is a readathon exactly? I've never heard of it before. Are they just earning money?
Yes. Okay. So what we're end up happening is it's advertising that the school's reading more for raising money. It's kind of like a run-a-thon. It's the same thing where kids are running for raising money for the school. But this one instead it's reading for raising money for the school. And we are going to request donations from family, extended family. This one's really nice because this one's an online platform. So we can ask family all over the country. And then we're also going to be asking local businesses to join in too, where they can actually put an advertisement on the page specifically if they donate a certain amount.
So it's like every book you get $1, that kind of thing?
It's more based off of minutes, and it's not actually pledged anymore. Because same thing with the run-a-thon in the previous time is because the fact that pledges have turned out where people are like, oh, well, I didn't expect you to actually read that much. I didn't expect you to run that much. So it ends up turning out more than they wanted to, and they decline the whole thing. So rather than that, it's just a set amount for them and saying, go ahead, cheers, read more type thing, just like a run-a-thon. So, all right, and I think that's all that's on our calendar.